If you'd like to hear more from George Haraxon, go to reasons.org and search for George Haraxon. Now it's time for RTB 101. Don't adjust your screens. We have a special edition of RTB 101 where we discuss practical questions to equip you to share your faith more effectively. And we're joined today with Krista Bontrager. You are a theologian, and you're going to help us talk about the resurrection. Well, first, it's Easter time, but let's dive into the resurrection. So as Easter is approaching, this is a really important time for Christians, and we want to know, why is it such an important time?
Yeah, it really is kind of the pinnacle of the Christian calendar. And the resurrection of Jesus is kind of the very foundation of our faith. If we're looking for a miracle, look no further than the resurrection. It is right there in the pages of Scripture and is there to help encourage and bolster our faith.
So when we think about the resurrection, surely if something that profound happened, there must have been some sort of change or shift in the culture. So what change do we see after Christ's resurrection?
Yeah, I like to say that the resurrection changed everything. When people ask me why I'm a Christian, I will often answer it is because of the resurrection. And I think one of the big changes that happens as a result of the resurrection is that Jesus conquers death. That is a powerful moment in human history because Jesus made all kinds of claims. He claimed to forgive sins. He claimed to be able to heal the sick. He cast out demons. He controlled the weather. He did all of these amazing miracles and he made amazing claims. He claimed he was going to come again and judge the world. But how do we know that he really is who he says he is? It's because he conquered death. When he came back to life, it showed that he really is who he claimed to be.
And it has other implications as well for us. So what does it mean for us that Christ rose from the dead?
Yeah, I think that just is a great point because another change that happens is because Jesus lives, I have the hope of resurrection. He's called the first fruits of the resurrection. He's kind of the firstborn is another term that they use. And they don't mean born as in being born of the Virgin at Christmas. It's firstborn, in other words, first resurrected. He's the first to come back from the dead. And it says in 1 Corinthians 15 that because he lives, we will live, and that our hope is in him. And so we look forward to living again. That's not some wish upon a star kind of a hope. That's a real hope that's rooted and grounded in history.
Well, you said rooted and grounded in history. So that's an important bit that we want to share. If we're talking with someone who isn't a Christian and they say, why are you a Christian? We can talk to each other and say, what, it is the resurrection. But when we talk to a non-Christian, the fact that Christ's resurrection is rooted in history is probably a great way to start that conversation. How would you invite someone to share why you're a Christian and do so from a non-Christian kind of approach?
Yeah, I think that it's a wonderful thing on Easter to invite somebody to investigate the resurrection. Hey, did you know that there's evidence outside the Bible that Jesus rose from the dead? There's these stories in Scripture about him coming back to life. But did you know that authors that were not Christians, that were Roman and Jewish historians, wrote about these matters too, and invite them to come look at the evidence? I know for me, on days when I doubt, days when I struggle in my faith and I have hard times and going through hard seasons, the thing that grounds me, the thing that I always come back to is the resurrection. This is what I know is true about my faith, and inviting people to go into that journey as well and to encounter Jesus.
Right. That's a wonderful reminder about, even for Christians, that we need to be grounded in that too, because if Christ didn't rise from the dead, then we're to be pitied most of all. So
we are very foolish people.
Right. Yeah. So I think for those who might be kind of deconstructing their faith, what would you say to them on how to explore and dive deeper into the historical reliability of Christ's resurrection? Where would they go?
Yeah, that's such a great question because deconstruction is happening a lot these days. but we're not always great at helping people reconstruct
Right.
the faith. After a while, they just have all these shattered pieces of their
Right.
faith on the floor.
It's like IKEA,
Yeah.
you know, all these pieces, like,
Yes.
how are there extra screws?
So now what do I do? I've
Right.
deconstructed everything. I think a really good place to start, and you can just go right on the internet, is start looking up Tacitus, who is a Roman historian, looking up what the early Christians believed about Jesus. They can just go on Google and type in, looking up the writings of these early historians and to read for themselves. They don't have to buy Christian books.
Right.
They can just go look there and then go read the gospel accounts. See if they have the flavor of being an eyewitness account, that people's lives were changed. They went from disorganized fishermen to really becoming the foundation of a world-changing movement.
Yeah.
What will account for that?
Right. If you'd like to hear more from Krista Bontrager, check out the RTB 101 playlist on the Reasons to Believe YouTube channel.